Remember, honor, and celebrate. That's what members of Maine's emergency medical services were doing in our state capitol today.
Alyssa Thurlow takes us to a ceremony on this National EMS Week that honors those who provide life-saving care every day.
May 19th through the 25th marks the 50th anniversary of EMS Week. This year's theme, honoring our past, forging our future.
It certainly does remind us the need to acknowledge the foundational work of those who came before us.
Friends of Maine for EMS, EMS professionals, and state lawmakers gathered in Augusta on Thursday at the Maine EMS Memorial and Education Site for a tribute to those in emergency medical services. Every aspect of the EMS system was represented. Over the past decades, Maine has experienced the loss of EMS providers in the line of duty. 8 EMS community members were honored on Thursday.
Richard Farrar, January 30th, 1992.
Maine EMS has come a long way in 50 years, but Friends of EMS for Maine, which was founded in 2019, says more work needs to be done to support those who care for us.
We are in trouble as a system. There's no question about it.
In addition, lawmakers spoke about this essential service we often take for granted.
The time and commitment that you put in for the training, the time away from your families, is something that doesn't go unnoticed.
In 2022, the state legislature established the Blue Ribbon Commission to help learn more about the challenges EMS professionals face and how to address those. In February of this year, the commission issued its final report with recommendations to provide more funding for EMS, increase Maine Care reimbursement rates for ambulance services, among others. Committee members say progress has been made, but not enough.
This session ended with some work of the Blue Ribbon Commission being lost, and we won't stand for that. We will come back in the next session and bring that work back. The time for action is now. We will not slow down. Lives depend on it.
Alyssa Thurlow, WABI TV5 News, Augusta.
Following today's gathering, Maine EMS hosted their 2024 award ceremony, recognizing the contributions and achievements of our EMS clinicians, partners, and organizations throughout Maine. Also announced this week, Maine EMS is seeking public comment on 2 proposed rules, one dealing with immunization requirements and the other for a community grant program. Comments may be submitted to Maine EMS by June 14th. We have a link on our website to learn more.